Hi and welcome to this daily daily tarot reading. This is a collective for all signs. You can use this any day you find this, but of course, it probably mostly resonates with the day I'm recording it, but whenever you find this, this is maybe an inspiration for you. I work with the symbolism of the tarot and the symbolism of Western astrology to maybe uncover layers of consciousness, give some inspiration, help you figure out your path or evolve in your path. So let's see. First part of the reading is always a general energy. Second part of the reading, a relationship dynamic. So let's go. I will mention the signs if there is specific signs coming out. If there's anything pointing to specific zodiac signs. So yeah, we are getting ready. We have a Queen of Cups in the reverse. Well, this might have to do with the moon as well right now, but we might feel emotionally a little bit out of balance, or maybe we have a moment where we are emotionally a little bit unstable, I want to say. Maybe there's a lot of overwhelming emotions, or maybe we have a little bit of a hard time expressing our emotions. So this is kind of a sign that we want to make sure that we tap into what we are actually feeling, to not push down things, to maybe trying to just feel things rather than trying to understand them. And giving ourselves also the gentleness and the grace with the Queen of Cups here in the reverse. Seems like there's a little bit of we are having a little bit of a hard time doing that. Therefore, maybe we are also having a little bit of hard time giving the grace, giving the love, giving the kindness to other people. So we really want to make sure, and we want to concentrate on treating ourselves with kindness, with gentleness, with softness, and allowing ourselves also to feel those feelings, that are uncomfortable, that are maybe not that fun, or that need to be just experienced. So if we need a good cry, then we cry. If we need a good, shout, then we shout. If we are angry, maybe we should just, shout into a pillow and not at our partner or dog. This is like, we want to make sure that we are not suppressing feelings, not suppressing emotions that come back and bite us in the, where. So yeah, let's see how we can move on from this, or move with this. A little bit of unbalanced also situation. Seven of Wands in the reverse is what we're moving out of, okay? And that also gives me a clue of where this might be coming from. And we're moving into the High Priestess in the reverse, or this is all part of this picture that we are creating here. Seven of Wands in the reverse is really very much an indication that we might not have drawn the boundaries that we should have coming up to this situation. Maybe we were a little bit weak in our boundaries. Maybe we let people overstep a little bit, or we didn't really, or we feel like there's a lot of things coming towards us that we kind of have to defend ourselves from. And it might seem like there's a lot of questioning or doubt, or I don't even want to say criticism. I don't think it's criticism, but it could be that there is some sort of pushback from the outside, and we kind of have to defend, and we're having a little bit of a hard time defending, or we don't want to defend, or people are overstepping our boundaries. Quite simple, quite it's quite possible that people are just not hearing us, not hearing our also needs, what we ask them for. So yeah, it is really coming back to the self and seeing things clearly. I think we now are allowed also to somewhat rationalize our our feelings or our situation here with the Queen of Swords. It seems like that this is the best idea, or this is the advice in a sense from the tarot deck, because we have a High Priestess in the reverse here. And if we cannot really trust our feelings right now, sometimes we cannot trust our feelings. Sometimes they are just overwhelming, or sometimes they're just too much, or they are out of balance, or we know they are a reaction to something that we feel like we cannot manage. So therefore our intuition might be a little bit out of control, or out of, we might, with the High Priestess in the reverse, we often have a moment where we think that we sense something, but it's not necessarily the truth. You know, there's no facts, there's nothing behind it. There's just an uncomfortable feeling, and we might interpret something into it, but it's not accurate. It's more like either anxiety, or it's us creating a story that maybe creates also feelings to the story that we then pinpoint down to, oh, that's my intuition telling me something. And that's not necessarily true when the High Priestess is in the reverse. I think we need to be careful not to, blame our feelings, blame our gut feeling, blame our intuition, because we really need to understand. And I think a lot of people need to understand, or we need to train our intuition in a sense that we understand that it's a calm clarity more than a anxious, fearful type of feeling. So that's why we want to be able to combine our intellect and our emotional world, which is pretty much what the Queen of Swords is doing. The Queen of Swords is the combination of the feminine, which are the queens in general, and the intellect, or the rational, or the higher thinking, which is the sword here. So she is the smart, the intellectual, the logical queen. Also, she has a higher understanding of some sorts. She does see things for what they are, and that's how she moves forward. And still, she comes from a very loving and understanding place. And understanding, I think, is really the key word here, because she is a very understanding person, in the sense that she really does understand. How things not just appear, but how things are. She really sees through reality, or these layers of reality, and comes to the core of a thing. So she is really the understanding queen in the most literal sense, I think. And that's how we should maybe approach the situation. We should maybe approach this in a sense that we come from an analytical standpoint, but at the same time, we don't really shut off our feelings. So this is, I think, here the way to go. Yeah, okay. I mean, Queen of Swords also, this could speak very much to air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. And it's very, in general, it's a very feminine energy that we have here. But, this is not necessarily, doesn't necessarily mean that it's just speaking to women. It's just that we want to activate that side within ourselves that is more receptive, that is more open for information as well. So asking is now a good thing. If you don't understand, ask and try to understand, try to read between the lines, try to see things for what they are, rather than reacting to your feelings. Which is funny to say, reacting to your feelings, because feelings themselves are often a reaction to something. So yeah, it's a double reaction here. Let's see what the relationship department has to say. Okay, we have on the other side, oh, that's interesting, a 2 5s. Oh, this is really coming out. I had this in another reading not too long ago. These two cards together are coming out here. So this is 2 5s, and this is 2 of the difficult 5s. The 5s are always quite difficult, I have to say. They're always a challenge. But the 5 of Wands is a lot about the ego trying to win. It could be also, of course, something positive, but it is somewhat of a conflict that we're having. So somebody is having a conflict and is approaching it also with a very strong, clear, and maybe hurtful standpoint. Maybe you are having a conflict with somebody, or somebody is having it outside of your connection. You know, this doesn't have to be necessarily a romantic relationship, as you know, but we want to maybe hear somebody out. I'm not sure why I'm getting this so strongly here with the Queen of Swords, but it's really, really want to understand a person. We really want to understand where they're coming from, not just make assumptions. And therefore, I think we should really encourage a person to talk and give them a safe environment also to talk, because there is really some conflict here going on, where somebody feels we have this idea of oppression here and negativity. Maybe somebody feels oppressed by negativity, or it is a situation where somebody feels like it's too much, and therefore develops like this sense of cynicism, which often happens. You know, sometimes we cannot take life anymore. Oh, but there's a Two of Cups. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of love. Maybe somebody is even oppressing their own negativity. That could very well be. Because in actuality, there's a lot of love towards us. We literally have the Two of Cups here. Let's see. Let's see how we play into this, because now we're just talking about this other person. Oh, Tower. Oh. I'm not sure if we are in a situation that is a sudden eruption of something. Maybe there is some anger involved. Maybe something happened also that has shaken us up a little bit. With the Tower, we do have a Tower card here. I think the way you're handling it, this eruption and this breakthrough and this intensity, is making somebody feel even more for you, or is actually creating a feeling of love from the outside. Maybe you're really breaking down your own walls. Maybe you're breaking through something. Maybe something is happening that is shaking things up, and the way you're handling it is quite positive. Because I would hope so. Sometimes we do have the situation in relationships that is not a very healthy dynamic. I just want to point it out. I don't think that there is this unhealthiness in it. Let's see what comes out. But because we do have a Two of Cups here, which is very, a healthy type of love, especially if it's upright. So I don't think this is this dynamic. I'm just talking about it for a second because I want people to be aware. If you are surrounded by people who enjoy and get off on your, emotional reaction to something, a little angry, a little, fiery, a little firecrackery, and they're like, oh, I love that about you. You're so, and oh, that's so sexy and that's hot. And don't be careful. Be careful of the trap, because that's often people who like to see a negative response in you and who like to see you triggered. So yes, it can be fun. Yes, it can be all humorous in a certain sense, and we can have a fiery personality and outspoken and fun and open and loud. That's all good, but don't fall for the trap that people, like to see you upset. And they're like, oh, I love how you name things, or how you are just like exploding and being open. And so can be a trap, because we know that this feeling of anger, of course, it's important. And I'm also somebody who is very prone to anger sometimes, but I think I've learned to redirect it. I've learned to direct it into a more productive lane. And if I feel like somebody or something is making me angry, I know there is some layer underneath that is actually making me sad. So I want to explore that. And I think that's what we want to, what we are maybe a little scared of to explore right now, but maybe somebody really does understand that, and therefore has nothing but understanding for you and can really relate also to that feeling. I feel like somebody can relate to us here. 7 of Crystals. Ooh. Ooh. Oops. Well, 7 of Crystals is in this deck a little different, because here it speaks of dullness, not so much of, you know, futility, it would be the word, or of being non-transparent. Here it's about like, okay, for some reason in the communication of things, there is some stagnation. I feel like, hence I'm saying stagnation because we have this thing going on here on the bottom of the deck. And there is something stagnating in the communication with people right now. Maybe some people do have a lot of understanding for a thing you're going through right now, or something sudden, something challenging maybe, or just an angry outburst, just some attitude. Could also be the Tower, that it's just very easy to trigger. And there's a lot of understanding and love for that from the outside, but it also kind of creates this dullness and stagnation in communication, because it can make people tiptoe. You know, it can make people tiptoe around you. You don't want that situation, especially in a love relationship, partnership, where people are afraid to say what they need to say. And I do see a little bit of this, a little bit of this energy here. And there's, there's a person, I think, 3 of Cups, beautiful. There's a person, I think, surrounding you, or people surrounding you, that really have a lot of love for you. Therefore, they understand your situation and also your reaction to things. At the same time, they see that you're able to kind of rationalize this and be calm at the same time about it and deal with it in a logical way. And they, I think, are trying to hold back negativity and conflict potential just out of integrity, which is very nice. And out of just motherly, sort of kind, caring love that I feel like you right now have maybe a hard time giving to yourself. So yeah, I think what the message here is, first of all, try to come from a light place, or find back to this lighter place right now. Also try to see things for what they are, not for what they seem to be. It's the Queen of Swords really does not make any scenarios up in her head. She only really analyzes what is the core of the matter with a higher understanding. She does not just, you know, create some fantasies about what a feeling could actually mean or indicate. And as we said, the High Priestess right now is not the best radar or guidance right now for reality, let's put it that way. We're not very aligned right now through our emotions, because we need to let some stuff out, maybe. Yeah, I think we need to let some stuff out. And I think we need to redirect that anger that's built up, or that emotional, I think there's something bubbling that needs to be expressed. And we can do that creatively. And as an artist, you know, you learn to find this outlet, to find this lane, to find this channel to let those emotions go somewhere where they can be productive, to transmute them, to transform them. And I think that's what we are trying to do here, and not compromising our relationships because of our emotional reactions. We can tell that somebody is, or people surrounding us are really coming from a place of love. There is, I think, some sort of self-sabotaging spot for both people, or for what you're mirroring right now with the external. And that makes things hard. I think there is this idea of not being transparent, not fully releasing what you need to release. In your case, maybe not fully releasing this whole anger, or this breakthrough energy, or this I need to push through these walls, especially when it comes to maybe relationships on the outside, shaking things up. It could also be friendships. Maybe you're done with some friends. Maybe you're just like, I've had enough. I've had enough. This cannot happen anymore. I'm done. And then there's also people who are just surrounding you, and maybe a certain person who is not fully expressing how they feel and are holding back. So there is a lot of holding back, I think, and holding back of things that really need to be let out. And if we're not capable right now of doing that with the external in relationships, maybe we find a relationship with something creative that we can put this energy into, because we cannot force things. Of course, we cannot force, somebody to say something. We cannot force ourselves to, or we should not even often fully express our anger. We should manage it. We should not, shake things up too much. Maybe we don't want to burn bridges, or we don't want to create drama, or like this whole situation. But these feelings need to go somewhere, so we need to find an outlet. And I think this is what we are supposed to do here right now. I think that's it. I think that's the reading. Check out my channel. Thank you so much for being here. And you can, of course, rewatch this on my channel later on, and check out also my description box for everything you need to know. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you soon.